Rather than messing around with the intricacies of representing his Clacton constituents, it seems that Nigel Farage is still hankering, I think that's the right word, for the keys or access to the doorway of number 10. And his reform party, well, I can't necessarily call it a party at the moment, his co-reform people are similarly anchoring, and Paul Oakden, one of the chief anchors in the Reform Party organisation, or the Reform Business Organisation, has made newspaper headlines sparking speculation about insider fighting between Paul Oakden and Nigel Farage and Ben Habib and Zia Yusuf. But apparently that's not the case. No, they are trying to wind down this business organisation, this business entity, and create a non-profit business status, which in turn can be turned into something where the members can vote. And specifically, according to Zia Yusuf, they can vote. There will be a document which allows members to remove the leader, at the moment Nigel Farage, and at the moment I think he cannot be removed, with a proper constitution, and apparently lawyers are working day and night, according to Zia Yusuf, to draft that constitution in time for 2029, when Nigel Farage plans to enter number 10. And Ben Habib says that he is delighted to hear this. He, of course, is spending a lot of time campaigning for Priti Patel to become leader of the Conservative Party, and Priti Patel has been challenged by the Reform UK people for relaxing the rules for migration and allowing more people in. I didn't think that was really her issue. I thought her issue was that she had invented the Rwanda policy, which was then carried out with aplomb by her successor, Suella Braverman, who doesn't seem to have had an original thought in her head at any point. Maybe we should be grateful. But so there we are. Reform UK is on the cusp of becoming real and allowing its supporters to become members. I can think of a few members in Reform UK who already exist. Members and anchors, the two things seem to sort of go together. But it is exciting to see this process in action, because, of course, this is a process which has taken place for almost all our political parties. This movement from being a concept to being a political reality that provides democratic opportunity for its members. Now, there are some problems, because Zia Yusuf was, at the time of the last election, actually still a member of the Conservative Party, which is strange. And the complex and turbulent nature of political affiliations and party membership in the UK, it should be straightforward. It isn't straightforward, and Yusuf's transition from being a Conservative member to being the chair of Reform UK, a Reform anchor, while still technically a member of the Conservative Party, highlights the potential gaps in party oversight and the challenges of managing people in the process of political transition, dual affiliation. And this incident of Zia's oversight or duplicity is significant, as it raises questions about the transparency and the enforcement of party membership rules, particularly when individuals publicly align themselves with rival political groups at the same time. So what I don't quite understand is, what is Ben Habib's investment in the Conservative Party if he's supposed to be such a senior anchor in the Reform UK Party? The Conservative Party's delayed action in revoking Yusuf's membership only after media scrutiny suggests a reactive rather than a proactive approach, and a casual approach. Moreover, Yusuf's criticism of the Conservative Party, particularly his view that Boris Johnson's policies were too left-leaning, resonates with a segment of disaffected Conservative voters, and his substantial financial support to Reform UK and his leadership role indicate a serious intent to position Reform UK as a viable alternative to the Conservatives, especially for voters who feel betrayed by the current direction of the Conservative Party. And the rise in Reform UK's membership, the rise of the number of people who support UK reform, I'm wrong to use the word membership. They can't be members at the moment because it isn't an active political party with membership. But since Farage announced his candidacy, this enthusiasm for reform further illustrates a growing appetite for more right-wing alternatives to the Conservative Party, particularly on issues like invented issues of distraction like immigration. But the party's association with controversial figures and events such as the racist and homophobic remarks made by many activists and support for anti-immigration riots either implicitly or explicitly undermines its broader public appeal and may indeed involve it in future litigation. This development also points to a potential fragmentation on the right of British politics, with Reform UK attempting to carve out a space traditionally occupied by the Conservatives, and the impact of this on further elections, the impact of the machinations of the Reform UK anchors and the members of Reform UK could be significant, especially if Reform UK continues to grow and attract prominent figures and significant donations, and indeed the support of Richard Tice. I think I've said in the past that his grandfather, Sunley, must be turning in his grave. But who knows? Who knows? I'm not privy to the activities, the post-mortem activities of people's immediate ancestors, but there we are.